皆様、こんにちは。ナオミでございます。
Right. We learned minasama, the most polite way to refer to everyone, and de gozaimasu, the extra formal form of the copula. In this lesson, you'll learn how to say that you have something.
You'll also learn the usage of ください。
Ashley and Ichiro have just arrived at Narita International Airport. Now they're going through immigration. Since Ichiro has a Japanese passport and Ashley has a foreign passport, they need to wait in different lines. So, they're going to say goodbye now. This conversation takes place at
成田国際空港。
Narita International Airport. The conversation between
アシュリーさんとイチローさん。
Ashley and Ichiro. They're using
Formal Japanese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
4Foreign passport holders this way.
あ、じゃあ。
ありがとうございました。それから、これは私の名刺です。
ありがとうございます。へえ、アシュリーさんは、日産自動車のマネージャーですか？
はい。トヨタさん、名刺ありますか？
はい、あります。名刺。あれ？ありません。ははは。すみません。じゃあ。はい、どうぞ。僕の携帯とメアドです。連絡ください。それでは。
はい。じゃあまた。
One time slowly.
Foreign passport holders this way.
あ、じゃあ。
ありがとうございました。それから、これは私の名刺です。
ありがとうございます。へえ、アシュリーさんは日産自動車のマネージャーですか？
はい。トヨタさん、名刺ありますか？
はい、あります。名刺。あれ、ありません。すみません。じゃあ。はい、どうぞ。僕の携帯とメアドです。連絡ください。それでは。
はい。じゃあ、また。
Now with the English translation.
Foreign passport holders this way.
Foreign passport holders this way.
あ、じゃあ。
All right, well,
ありがとうございました。
thank you very much.
それから、これは私の名刺です。
Here's my business card.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
へえ、アシュリーさんは日産自動車のマネージャーですか？
Oh, so you're a manager at Nissan Automotive?
はい。
Yes.
トヨタさん、名刺ありますか？
Toyota-san, do you have a business card?
はい、あります。
Yes, I do.
名刺。
Business card.
あれ？ありません。ははは。
Huh? Uh-oh, I don't.
すみません。じゃあ。
I'm sorry. Okay, well,
はい、どうぞ。
here you are.
僕の携帯とメアドです。
My cell phone number and email address.
連絡ください。
Contact me sometime.
それでは。
See you around.
はい。じゃあまた。
Okay, bye.
People often exchange business cards in Japan. Is it also common in Western culture?
These days, very common.
By the way, business cards are called 名刺 in Japanese. Have you ever exchanged business cards in Japan?
Yes, many times.
ですよね, I bet. Is there anything people should know?
Yes, I've made many mistakes, and I think I've insulted quite a few people. So I'd like to take a couple minutes so that you don't make mistakes and you don't insult people. Rule number 1. When giving a business card, you should have 2 hands on the business card And it should be readable for the person accepting it.
そうですね。
The business card between two fingers, not what you want to do in Japan.
No.
Would you say that's pretty rude, Naomi-sensei?
Yeah, it's not only for business cards though. When you pass something to people, I recommend that you use both hands.
And also make sure you turn the business card so it's readable for the person accepting it. If you have a business card holder, take out your card and put it on top of that and hand it over. After receiving it, don't put it in your pocket.
Oh yeah, especially not in your back pocket.
I've done that, so you don't want to do that. Place it on the table next to your documents. Keep it there to reference during the meeting. When the meeting's done, that's when you take it, slide it off the table, and put it into your card holder. So don't make these mistakes I've made. Those tips should get you pretty far, much farther than I had been the first time. Okay, on to the vocabulary. First word.
へえ、
Oh.
へえ、
Next.
自動車、
Automobile.
自動車、自動車、
Next.
携帯、
Cell phone. Mobile phone.
けいたい、携帯、
Next.
メアド、
Email address.
メアド、メアド、
Next.
連絡、
Contact.
れんらく、連絡。
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases from this lesson. Naomi-sensei, what's the first phrase we'll look at?
Actually, it's an interjection, which is へえ。
We've kind of touched on he in the All About Japanese series, Lesson 13. Basically, you can use
へえ。
to show that you're impressed. If you watch Japanese TV and someone says something surprising, you usually hear a gallery of people
へえ。
in unison.
It's a pretty common interjection.
Next, we have a word.
携帯。
Cell phone, mobile phone. Keitai originally means portable.
Right. The real name for mobile phone is 携帯電話。
Two words. First word,
携帯、
portable,
電話。
phone. So, interestingly, we do the same thing in English.
ああ、そうですね。
Yeah, people call a cell phone a cell when the full name is cellular phone.
そうですね。And in the dialogue, Ichiro said 携帯 but what he really meant was not cell phone, but cell phone number.
Okay, and what's the next word?
メアド、
Email address. It's an abbreviation of,
E メールアドレス。
right?
はい、そうですね。You might also hear メールアドレス or メール or even メルアド。
All meaning email.
Right. In a business situation though, メール or メールアドレス are usually used. Which one do you usually use?
I use meruado. Lastly, we have
自動車 or 自動車。
automobile.
There are two ways to pronounce it.
Naomi-sensei, we don't usually use the word jidosha in daily conversation, right?
ああ、そうですね。You're right. In a daily conversation, we tend to use 車 which means car more often.
It's just like in English. In English, in everyday conversation, we tend not to say automobile. but
そうですね。I got a new automobile.
yes, car.
Right. Same thing in Japanese.
On to the grammar point. In this lesson, you'll learn two things. One, how to talk about the possession of inanimate objects with arimasu. And second,
How to ask for something with ください.
let's start with arimasu. Arimasu, the formal form of the verb aru, means to be, to exist, or to have. In this dialogue, we focused on the meaning to have. Now, it's important to note that this only applies to inanimate objects, things that don't move. For animate objects, things that move, such as people or animals, we have to use a different verb.
Which is います。
The formal form of the verb,
いる。
simply put, in English, whether we use inanimate or animate objects, we use the same verb. For example, let's take an animate object, brother, something that moves. I have a brother. Let's take an inanimate object. House. I have a house. In English, I have a brother and I have a house use the same verb.
Have.
But in Japanese, that verb would change.
Right.
Brother would use
います。
because it's animate, and house would use
あります。
because it doesn't move. Now again, in this lesson, we're focusing on arimasu.
And the usage of います will be covered in lesson 17.
So, shifting back to arimasu, can we have a sample sentence?
Sure. 私は名刺があります。
I have a business card.
The thing you have is usually marked by particle が. So, 名刺があります。Have a 名刺, a business card.
Let's break down this sentence. First we have
私は
I and the topic marking particle. So it's like, as for me,
名刺
business card
が
marks the object that exists or that is possessed by the subject.
あります。
To exist, to have. So literally,
私は
as for me,
名刺があります。
business card have or business card exists. And of course, we translate it as I have a business card. So can you say that sentence again?
私は名刺があります。
I have a business card. So this structure is very, very important. Something something があります.
Right. 私は something something があります。
I have something. For example, if we want to say I have time,
Time in Japanese is 時間. So, 私は時間があります。
I have time. Of course, when it's clear who the speaker is, watashi wa can be left out. So,
時間があります。
I have time.
名詞があります。
I have a business card.
Right.
Now, Naomi-sensei, what if you wanted to ask a question? What can we do?
It's easy. Just add か at the end of the sentence. So, 時間がありますか?
Do you have time?
Or, 名詞がありますか?
Do you have a business card? And if you have it, you can say,
はい。or, はい、あります。
yes, I do. And,
はい、どうぞ。
yes, here you are. But Naomi-sensei, what if you don't have it? What can you say?
Good question. We say ありません。
Arimasu is to have or to exist. Arimasen is a negative form, to not have or to not exist.
Right. Change ます to ません for the negative form.
So how do you say I don't have any time?
時間がありません。
How about I don't have a business card?
名詞がありません。
Okay, on to the next grammar point.
Our next grammar point is ください。
In the dialogue, Ichiro asked Ashley to contact him using the word
連絡ください。
contact me or please get in touch.
Yeah, that's a good translation.
So to ask for something, we use object plus,
をください。
we put the object particle
を
plus
ください。
after what we want.
The object particle を can be omitted. So, object you want plus ください.
First, we have an example with o, the object marking particle. Remember, Japanese sentence structure is free, so we use these particles to mark parts of the sentence.
電話をください.
Please give a call.
Or you can drop を and say 電話ください.
Give a call. How about in the case of email?
E メールをください or メールをください or メールください.
Dropping the object marking particle. Okay, let's recap with the quiz. The quiz will be multiple choice. We'll give you a question and 3 possible answers. Your job is to guess the answer. All right? The first question. How do you say business card in Japanese? A,
名前
B,
メール
C.
名詞
The answer is
C 名詞
namae is name, meru is email. Next question. Which of the following phrases means I don't have time? A,
時間がありません
B,
時間がありますか
C.
時間があります
The answer is
A 時間が ありません。
Remember, arimasu means to have, to exist. Arimasen is the negative, so doesn't exist, don't have. That's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll introduce useful phrases to use at immigration.
Okay, see you in the next lesson. じゃあまた。
Listen to the entire conversation once again.
Foreign passport holders this way.
あ、じゃあ、
ありがとうございました。それから、これは私の名刺です。
ありがとうございます。へえ、アシュリーさんは、日産自動車のマネージャーですか？
はい。トヨタさん、名刺ありますか？
はい、あります。名刺。あれ？ありません。ははは。すみません。じゃあ。はい、どうぞ。僕の携帯とメアドです。連絡ください。それでは。
はい。じゃあまた。
Practice with the review track.
あれ？
Huh?
あれ？あれ？それから、
Then, and.
それからそれから名刺
Business card.
めいし名刺へえ
Oh.
へえ自動車
Automobile.
じどうしゃ自動車
Manager.
マネージャーマネージャーマネージャー
Cell phone. Mobile phone.
携帯けいたい携帯
Email address.
メアドメアドメアド
Contact.
連絡れんらく連絡
Lesson 7.
Naomi-sensei, what did we learn in the previous lesson?
The usage of あります
I have.
and ください。
Please give me.
For example, 名刺ありますか？
Do you have a business card?
連絡ください。
Contact me. In this lesson, first we'll review the different usages of.
お願いします。
Next, you'll learn how to say it's your first time doing something.
初めてです。
This conversation takes place at
成田空港のイミグレーション。
immigration at Narita International Airport. This conversation is between
アシュリーさんとイミグレーションの人。
Ashley and an immigration officer. The immigration officer is going to ask Ashley questions in Japanese. Naomi-sensei, what's the formality level of this conversation?
Formal.
As a reference, we strongly recommend that you check out Appendix 11 and Bootcamp Lesson 3.
次の人、どうぞ。
こんにちは。
こんにちは。パスポートお願いします。お仕事ですか？
すみません。もう一度お願いします。
仕事ですか？ビジネストリップ？
あ、はい。出張です。
初めてですか？
すみません。ゆっくりお願いします。
日本は初めてですか？ファーストタイムインジャパン？
いいえ、違います。
滞在期間は？
すみません。英語でお願いします。
One time slowly.
次の人、どうぞ。
こんにちは。
こんにちは。パスポート、お願いします。お仕事ですか？
すみません。もう一度、お願いします。
仕事ですか？ビジネストリップ、
あ、はい。出張です。
初めてですか？
すみません。ゆっくりお願いします。
日本は初めてですか？ファーストタイム、in Japan？
いいえ、違います。
滞在期間は？
すみません。英語でお願いします。
Now with the English translation.
次の人、どうぞ。
Next in line, please.
こんにちは。
Hello.
こんにちは。パスポートお願いします。
Hello. Passport, please.
お仕事ですか？
Are you here on business?
すみません。もう一度お願いします。
I'm sorry. Could you say that once more, please?
仕事ですか？ビジネストリップ？
Are you here on business? Business trip?
あ、はい。出張です。
Oh, yes. I'm on a business trip.
初めてですか？
Is it your first time in Japan?
すみません。ゆっくりお願いします。
I'm sorry. Could you say that a bit slower, please?
日本は初めてですか？ファーストタイム in Japan？
Is this your first time in Japan? First time in Japan?
いいえ、違います。
No, it's not.
滞在期間は？
And how long will you be staying?
すみません。英語でお願いします。
I'm sorry. Could you please use English?
To be honest with you, I don't think this will happen. I mean, the immigration officer can speak English, so I don't know you need to talk to them in Japanese.
Well, I haven't come to Japan any other way so far, but I'm not sure about the other places. There are many international airports in Japan, right?
Right.
So Narita is the biggest and most well known. So there they most likely have someone who will speak English, but there are other places that you come into Japan. Also, Naomi-sensei, don't you think it's nice to speak in Japanese? You're coming to Japan.
That's true.
You know, you have to change the mentality like, oh, yeah, they should speak English. Speaking in Japanese, being in Japan, they like that.
そうですね. So, what about you, Peter? Do you usually speak to them in Japanese?
はい、日本語で。
そうですか. That's very nice of you.
And one other thing, they're actually, I would say, on the nicer side of immigration officers from the places that I've been.
So, there's nothing to be worried about then.
Nope, I think it's pretty easy, pretty routine. Now, a little bit different are the customs officers.
そうですか? 税関? Customs officers?
Yes. Now, not everybody at customs speaks English.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So while you may not get a chance to use the information you learned in this dialogue at immigration, you may get a chance to use it a few minutes later when you try to get through customs.
でも, I don't want to talk to them, you know.
Nobody does, but they stop people.
Okay.
Most of the time, though, in Japan, they're pretty lenient. Check, check, check.
Right.
They just kind of let you go through, but sometimes they do stop you and ask you where you're staying, why you came, how long you'll be here.
But they're pretty friendly, right?
Not that friendly.
そうですか.
The immigration people are nicer than customs. Pretty friendly, but not super friendly.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, on to the vocabulary. First word.
次、
Next.
次、次、
Next.
人、
Person.
ひ、と、人、
Next.
仕事、
Work. Job.
し、ご、と、仕事、
Next.
日本、
Japan.
に、ほ、ん、日本、
Next.
英語、
English.
え、い、ご、英語、
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases in this lesson. Naomi-sensei, what's the first word we'll look at?
日本.
Japan.
And when you add jin to the country name, it becomes a nationality. So, 日本人 would be
Japanese.
as in Japanese person. And when you put go after the name of the country, it becomes the language. 日本語.
Japanese language. So can you give us those words again?
Sure. 日本.
Japan. Tack on go.
日本語.
Japanese language. Tack on jin.
日本人.
Japanese person. So, Naomi-sensei, I'm from the US.
Right.
So, America is the name of my country, right?
はい.
So, in order to get American, we tack on jin to the country. So, America jin, right?
Right.
But in the case of language, it's a little bit different. It's not America go, right?
In this case, no.
What is it?
For English, we say 英語.
Eigo for English. E comes from the kanji used to describe Britain. For more information about nationality and language, check Appendix 11.
English is 英語.
Okay, what's the next word?
仕事.
Job, work. Sometimes the polite or honorific prefix o precedes it, and shigoto becomes?
お仕事.
Next, let's take a look at the phrase.
いいえ、違います.
No, it's not. No, I'm not. No, it's wrong. It has all these meanings, but the meaning depends on the context. Let's break down this phrase.
いいえ.
No, remember, long vowel in there. It's not ie, it's ie. Then we have
違います.
literally different, to differ.
For example, if I asked Peter, ジョンさんですか? Are you John?
いいえ、違います. No, I'm not. Literally, no, it's different. But again, from the context, we derive the meaning that, no, I'm not John.
If you want to say, that's right, or yes it is, yes I am, yes you are, you say, はい、そうです.
For example, すいません、Naomi-sensei desu ka? Excuse me, are you Naomi-sensei?
はい、そうです. Yes I am.
And lastly, we have a pretty difficult word. This is a term used at immigration, so it's quite tricky, not an everyday word.
Which is 滞在期間.
Length of stay. So in this dialogue, Ashley didn't understand the meaning of
滞在期間. 滞在 refers to one's stay, and 期間 means period or length.
taizai is an important word to remember if you plan on visiting Japan. In the lesson notes for this lesson, we have common compound words that use taizai, and you'll come across these words when you come to Japan. You get a small document to fill out, and it has purpose of stay, length of stay.
Right. そうですね. So please make sure to check it out.
On to the grammar point. In this lesson, you'll learn the phrase
初めて.
to talk about doing something for the first time. And you'll also review the different usages of
お願いします.
and how to use the particle.
で.
A lot to cover, so let's get started. Let's start with 初めて.
はい.
初めて is an adverb that means first or first time. When combined with
ですか?
it creates a question that means, is this your first time? We can put the topic followed by the topic marking particle wa in the beginning of the sentence to clarify what is being asked about. In the dialogue we have,
日本は初めてですか?
literally, Japan, first time? First time in Japan? Of course, we can derive, is it your first time in Japan? Let's break it down.
日本
Japan,
は
topic marking particle. So,
日本は
as for Japan,
初めて
first time?
です
Copula, Japanese equivalent of the English verb to be, in this case is
か
question marking particle. So the literal translation is, as for Japan, first time is, and in more natural English, is it your first time to Japan?
The sentence pattern is something は初めてですか?
Is it your first time in? Is it your first time trying? Is it your first time to?
Right. For example, 東京は初めてですか?
Is it your first time in Tokyo?
ニューヨークは初めてですか?
Is it your first time in New York?
寿司は初めてですか?
Is it your first time trying sushi? Alright, on to the next grammar point.
There are 4 お願いします sentences in the dialogue.
Which was the first one?
パスポートお願いします。
Passport, please. As we learned in Basic Bootcamp Lesson 3, when asking for something,
お願いします。
follows the item that you want. So, in this first instance, we're asking for something. What's the second sentence?
もう一度お願いします。
Could you say that once more, please? Mo means more. Ichido means one time.
So, もう一度
Once more.
お願いします。
Please. In this case, we're asking somebody to do something.
Right.
First example, asking for something. Second example, asking someone to do something. And in the second example, say it is implied by the speaker. Please say it again. The third instance is,
ゆっくりお願いします。
could you say that again slowly, please?
ゆっくり means
Slowly.
お願いします。
So we have slowly, please. But again, say it is implied.
Right.
And finally we have,
英語でお願いします。
literally, in English, please. But again, the speaker's implying, say the phrase.
はい。
Say it.
英語で means by using English or in English.
Now, the particle de can follow a noun to talk about means of transportation or tools used to do something. Think about it as a tool to accomplish something. For example,
バスで、
by bus,
日本語で、
in Japanese. Now, in these two cases, the corresponding English translation, it changes. But remember, it's a tool. In the first instance, basu de, by bus. The bus is your tool to get somewhere. In the second one, nihongo de, it's your tool to communicate. So, Naomi-sensei,
はい。
how do you say, could you please use Japanese?
Oh, that's a good phrase to know. 日本語でお願いします。
In Japanese, please. Okay, let's recap with the quiz. The quiz will be multiple choice. We'll give you a question and 3 possible answers. Your job is to guess the answer, okay? First question. Which of the following words means English? A,
英語、
B,
日本語、
C.
スペイン語。
The answer is
A、英語、日本語、
Japanese,
スペイン語。
Spanish.
So the answer should be 英語、English.
Next question. Which phrase do you use when you want someone to use English? A,
英語ください。
B,
英語でお願いします。
C.
英語ですか？
The answer is
B、英語でお願いします。
the choice A, 英語ください. That sounds a little weird.
Give me English.
Yeah, this isn't proper Japanese. C is
英語ですか？
if maybe someone was speaking a language at a Japanese person and they were asking, is it English? That would work, but it's a little awkward too.
そうですね。
In the next lesson, we'll introduce you to some useful vocabulary for buying tickets.
じゃあまた。
Listen to the entire conversation once again.
次の人、どうぞ。
こんにちは。
こんにちは。パスポートお願いします。お仕事ですか？
すみません。もう一度お願いします。
仕事ですか？ビジネストリップ？
あ、はい。出張です。
初めてですか？
すみません。ゆっくりお願いします。
日本は初めてですか？ファーストタイムインジャパン？
いいえ、違います。
滞在期間は？
すみません。英語でお願いします。
Practice with the review track.
次、
Next.
つ、ぎ、次。人、
Person.
ひ、と、人。パスポート、
Passport.
パ、ス、ポート。パスポート。仕事、
Work. Job.
し、ご、と、仕事。出張、
Business trip.
出張、出張。
Japan.
日本、に、ほ、ん、日本。
For the first time.
初めて、は、じ、め、て、初めて。
Length of one's stay.
滞在期間、た、い、ざ、い、き、か、ん。滞在期間。
English.
英語、え、い、ご、英語。
Lesson 8.
In the previous lesson, we learned how to ask someone to speak in English.
Such as 英語でお願いします。
In English, please. Also, we learned how to say, is it your first time?
初めてですか?
In this lesson, you'll learn some useful vocabulary and phrases for buying tickets or shopping.
And we'll also learn the usage of the adjective 大丈夫.
This conversation takes place at
成田空港のバスカウンター。
a bus service counter in Narita Airport. The conversation is between
アシュリーさんと係員。
Ashley and the clerk. Ashley is going to take a bus to her hotel. She's buying a ticket now. The conversation is between a clerk and a customer. So you'll hear
Formal Japanese.
Before listening to this dialogue, we strongly recommend that you look at Appendix number 7 and 9 as reference.
羽田空港まで大人1枚子供2枚。
4500円です。はい、チケットです。出発は3時45分です。次の人どうぞ。
品川プリンセスホテルまで大人1名。
3000円です。
このデビットカード大丈夫ですか？
すみません。そのカードはダメです。
このクレジットカードは大丈夫ですか？
はい、大丈夫です。署名お願いします。
署名？
サインお願いします。Your signature, please.
One time slowly.
羽田空港まで大人1枚、子供2枚。
4500円です。はい。チケットです。出発は3時45分です。次の人、どうぞ。
品川プリンセスホテルまで大人1名。
3000円です。
このデビットカード大丈夫ですか？
すみません。そのカードはダメです。
このクレジットカードは大丈夫ですか？
はい。大丈夫です。署名、お願いします。
署名？
サイン、お願いします。Your signature, please.
Now with the English translation.
羽田空港まで大人1枚子供2枚。
One adult ticket, 2 child tickets for Haneda Airport.
4500円です。
That'll be 4,500 yen.
はい、チケットです。
Here are the tickets.
出発は3時45分です。
It departs at 3:45.
次の人どうぞ。
Next in line, please.
品川プリンセスホテルまで大人1名。
One adult ticket for Shinagawa Princess Hotel.
3000円です。
That'll be 3,000 yen.
このデビットカード大丈夫ですか？
Can I use this debit card?
すみません。そのカードはダメです。
I'm sorry, you can't use that card.
このクレジットカードは大丈夫ですか？
Can I use this credit card?
はい、大丈夫です。
Yes, this one is okay.
署名お願いします。
Your shomei, please.
署名？
Shomei?
サインお願いします。Your signature, please.
Your signature, please.
デビットカードはダメですか? You can't use the debit card, so the debit card is not very common in Japan?
Well, it's getting more common. We have our own debit card called J-Debit. But I heard our European coworkers complaining that they can't use the debit card from their home country.
So if you plan to visit Japan, your debit card might not be accepted, so please be careful.
そうですね。
How about credit cards?
クレジットカードは大丈夫ですね。You can use a credit card.
At major stores, it won't be a problem. But Japan is still a cash-based society, so
そうね。
there are certain places where you still can't use a credit card.
Yeah, compared with Western people in general, we carry a lot of cash.
So if you're planning to go outside the big cities and on a big adventure, you're probably better off taking a lot of cash. Japan is very safe, so that's not too big of an issue.
そうですね。
But inside of Tokyo, nowadays, you're pretty okay with a credit card in most places.
そうですね。
Usually they'll have a sticker saying that they accept credit cards, but if not, you can ask if they accept credit cards by saying,
クレジットカード大丈夫ですか?
are credit cards okay? So now you have the tools to even ask. And, Naomi-sensei, in English, we say Japanese yen.
うん。
But how do the Japanese call it?
N. It's spelled E-N in Romaji.
When you come to Japan, you'll probably see the yen mark, the internationally used yen mark.
Y and 2 bars.
Yes. But in many other locations, you'll see Arabic numerals followed by the kanji for N. And that's how you can find out the price. So be sure to check the lesson notes as you can see the kanji character for N, Japanese yen, in the notes. Finally, let's just talk quickly about transportation from Narita Airport. Naomi-sensei,
はい。
how do you usually get back to your home from Narita Airport?
I usually take the train.
Japan has one of the best rail systems in the world. So getting from Narita Airport to where you want to be by train is very easy to do.
Yeah, and it's not so expensive. They also have the limousine bus, and I think Ashley is using that service.
Right. Now, they call it a limousine bus because it's much nicer than a bus you can kind of imagine.
そうですね。I would say taking a taxi to Tokyo from the airport isn't very common.
It is one way too. It's just convenient, but I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, you could take the train to downtown Tokyo for about $10 to $15 if you take the local train. The express train is quicker, but it's about triple the price. But there are many ways to get where you're going. Train, bus, taxi. Okay, on to the vocabulary. First word.
大人、
Adult.
お、と、な、大人、
Next.
子供、
Child. Children.
こ、ど、も、子供、
Next.
ダメ、
No. Bad.
だ、め、ダメ、
Next.
署名、
Signature.
署名、署名、
Next.
サイン、
Signature. Autograph.
サイン、サイン。
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases from this lesson. Naomi-sensei, what's the first word we'll look at?
空港.
Airport.
There are 2 long vowels in that word, so be careful. Long U and long O sound.
In hiragana, it's spelled ku-u, ko-u, but it's pronounced.
空港.
There are 2 major airports in the Tokyo area. One is
成田空港.
Narita Airport, and the other is
羽田空港.
Narita is very far away. And Haneda is located very close to the heart of Tokyo. Much more convenient. The next word is super important.
大丈夫.
It's an adjective meaning okay or all right.
The opposite adjective is ダメ.
No good, not okay, useless.
大丈夫.
And
ダメ.
are two common and useful words that you'll encounter a lot in Japanese. They're often used to refer to states or conditions. For example,
私は大丈夫です。
I'm okay.
ダメです。
I'm not okay. Actually, it's probably not your first time hearing the adjective 大丈夫 because in lesson 4, Ashley asked Ichiro,
大丈夫ですか?
Are you okay? Do you remember that phrase? 大丈夫 is one of the most frequently used adjectives in Japanese. So memorize this adjective right now.
そうですね。In the dialogue, Ashley said, クレジットカードは大丈夫ですか? Is credit card okay?
And of course it means, is it okay to use a credit card? But again, that to use is implied by the speaker and inferred by the listener. Again, it depends on the context. If it wasn't a paying situation, the phrase would be awkward. But again, in Japanese, a lot depends on the context. Naomi-sensei, so what's next?
大人 and 子供。
Adult and children respectively. Now, there's one more category you need to know about to buy a ticket. Can you guess? Students.
Right. 学生 student. Some company have a special discount for students, so you should memorize this word to save money.
Can we hear them once again?
大人
Adult.
子供
Child. Kid.
and 学生
Student.
And please look at the kanji for adult. It has big and person. Big person means adult. But please be careful. The reading of the kanji is irregular.
What's the next word?
署名
Signature. In the dialogue, another word for signature is used. It's
サイン
signature. Now, do both shome and sign mean signature?
Right. 署名 and sign means signature. However, sign could mean autograph.
Now, at the shop, you'll hear the shop clerk say,
署名お願いします or サインお願いします
On to the grammar point. In this lesson, you'll learn useful vocabulary for buying tickets.
We'll also introduce a series of important words known as コソワード words.
In the dialogue, Ashley successfully bought tickets for the limousine bus from Narita Airport to Shinegawa Princess Hotel. Let's take a look at some vocabulary and phrases used when buying tickets.
Two types of counters are used in the dialogue. Shall we start with them?
Sure. What are the two counters?
マイ and メイ. マイ is the counter for sheets of paper, of course including tickets. And メイ is a counter for people.
Now, Japanese has a lot of counters, which are words that are used to count specific items, usually depending on their shape. The corresponding counter depends on the appearance or makeup of the item. For example, there are different counters for sheets of paper and bottles because they're different in shape. For more information about counters, please check out appendix number 7.
メイ is a counter for people, so one person would be 1名. Two people would be 2名. Three people would be 3名.
You say the number and just add the counter, me. Counters always come after the number.
Also, please notice that the object comes before it. For example, adult is 大人. So, one adult would be 大人1名. One kid would be 子供1名.
Say the object being counted and say the number and say the counter.
大人
Adult, which is the object being counted, and
1
1, the number,
名
the counter.
大人1名.
One adult.
How about チケット1枚?
Chiketto, ticket. Ichi, 1. Mai, counter for thin, flat things. So, 1 ticket. Now, here's something that's interesting. We can actually sometimes, depending on the context, mix and match the noun and the counter. For example, in the dialogue, the other customer said,
大人1枚.
adult, 1 sheet of something. So, 1 adult ticket. Again, it's depending on the context. It's okay for her to say the adult and 1. Okay, on to the next vocabulary word.
まで
Literally means until, but it's commonly translated as to, as in to a place. For example,
羽田空港まで
to Haneda Airport,
ヒルトンホテルまで
to Hilton Hotel. So in the dialogue, Ashley said,
品川プリンセスホテルまで大人1名。
one ticket to Shinagawa Princess Hotel. Let's break this down.
品川プリンセスホテル
Shinagawa Princess Hotel,
まで
until, or to. So we have
品川プリンセスホテルまで
to Shinagawa Princess Hotel.
大人
Adult,
1名。
one person. Shinagawa Princess Hotel to adult, one person. And of course it means one adult ticket to Shinagawa Princess Hotel. Okay, on to the next grammar point.
Let's learn コソワード words.
For a detailed explanation of Japanese demonstrative words, or koso ado words, please read the lesson notes for this lesson and also check out appendix number 9.
In lesson 3, we introduced 3 demonstrative pronouns. We learned how to say this one, that one, and that one over there in Japanese.
They are?
これ、それ, and あれ.
Now, in Japanese, when those, this, that words are followed by a noun, the word this, that, and that one over there conjugate.
Right. Like これ becomes この.
So this coffee is not kore kohi, but
このコーヒー. And それ that one becomes その
that is sore, but that coffee is
そのコーヒー. And あれ that one over there becomes あの in front of a noun.
that over there is are, but that coffee over there is
あのコーヒー.
Okay, let's recap with the quiz. The quiz will be multiple choice. We'll give you a question and 3 possible answers. Your job is to guess the answer, okay? First question. What's the unit of Japanese currency? A,
円
B,
枚
C.
名
The answer is?
円 円
So in English, yen, but in Japanese,
円
mai is the counter for paper or tickets, and me is the counter for people. Question 2. How do you say okay or alright in Japanese? A,
ダメ
B,
大丈夫
C.
署名
The answer is?
B 大丈夫
Dame means no good. Shomei means signature. This concludes this lesson. In the next lesson, Ashley's going to get some food at a kiosk. You'll learn some useful expressions for buying something.
じゃあまた
Listen to the entire conversation once again.
羽田空港まで大人1枚子供2枚。
4500円です。はい、チケットです。出発は3時45分です。次の人どうぞ。
品川プリンセスホテルまで大人1名。
3000円です。
このデビットカード大丈夫ですか？
すみません。そのカードはダメです。
このクレジットカードは大丈夫ですか？
はい、大丈夫です。署名お願いします。
署名？
サインお願いします。Your signature, please.
Practice with the review track.
1名、
One person.
1名、1名。大人、
Adult.
おとな、大人。1枚、
One sheet of paper.
1枚、1枚。子供、
Child. Children.
子ども、子供。ホテル、
Hotel.
ホテル、ホテル。羽田空港、
Haneda Airport.
羽田空 こう。羽田空港。品川。
品川。
し、な、が、わ。品川。
yen,
円。え、ん。円。
card,
カード。カード。カード。
no, bad,
ダメ。だ、め。ダメ。
credit card,
クレジットカード。く、れ、じ、と、カード。クレジットカード。
signature,
署名。署名。署名。
signature, autograph,
サイン。さ、い、ん。サイン。
Lesson